Aditya Hridayam Punyam Sav Shatru Bina Shanam. Aditya Hridayam Punyam Sarv Shatru Bina Shanam. Aditya Hridayam Punyam Sarv Shatru Bina Shanam. Aditya Hridayam Punyam Sarv Shatru Bina Shanam. This is a mantra from the Ramayana, and it's a Sanskrit mantra. It's a set of words that you repeat in your heart, and it brings the sun into your heart. The translation is, all evil vanishes from life for him who keeps the sun in his heart. And Aditya is the sun, and Hridayam is the spiritual heart. All evil vanishes from life for him who keeps the sun in his heart. And the way you use the mantra is that it's good to do it looking into the sun in the morning. But you can, if there's no sun, you can visualize the sun. And start to do the mantra, Aditya Hridayam Punyam Sav Shatru Bina Shanam. And then as you do the mantra, think about the sun and how it gives light and gives heat and gives life. Gives it to everybody. It doesn't say, I'll give it to you, but not to you. It asks nothing in return. It just keeps emitting light, warmth, energy, love. And as you imagine the sun, then as you keep saying the mantra, you start to experience warmth in your own Hridayam, your spiritual heart, in the middle of your chest. And you begin to feel a warm, glowing, emitting being within. And that being, who is Guru Rinpoche, who is Buddha consciousness, who is Christ, who is all pure consciousness, emits light, it emits love, it emits energy, it emits life. And everybody it touches, it warms. And as you keep saying the mantra, that heat inside your chest gets hotter and hotter. And when you are meeting people, you just bathe them in the light of the sun. Because you, when you know who you really are part of the sun. You're part of pure light, pure energy, pure truth, pure beauty, pure love. Most of us have a hard time accepting the fact that we could really be divine, that we could really be that beautiful. Because we all grew up thinking, well, we're groovy now and then, but actually, man, deep inside, original sin. Deep inside is a heavy, dark place. Better not go in too deep. Freud's unconscious. But behind all that melodrama, which is the kind of primordial stuff, behind all that, here we are, and we are pure light, pure love. We are God consciousness. All you have to do is just sing Ram over and over again. Rama, 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 Rama. Ram was one of the incarnations of God in the Hindu system. And he's a beautiful cat, perfect karma yogi, just perfect light, the perfect husband, father, lover, friend, king, sadhu, just a perfect guy. You bring that pure being into your heart, and he is who you are. And when you finally break free of all of your illusions, I'm whatever you label, whatever follows I'm. See? I'm good, I'm a lawyer, I'm a speed freak, I'm a musician, I'm a government minister, I'm a responsible citizen, I'm lazy, behind all those labels, all of which are your patent place, they're your role in the melodrama, behind all that, when you get behind the costume Central Casting loaned you for this round, you come to a place where we all are, backstage. Used to sit in my cave, my little cabin, and I'd hear footsteps approaching, and I'd look at the picture of Ram and I'd say, okay, who are you going to be this time? And I knew that right outside the door was Central Casting, and it just run him through the Hamlet routine, run him through the poignant mother, run him through the seductive chick, run him through the competitive mystic, and somebody would come to teach me something. And all I do would be Aditya Hridayam Punya Saushatru Binashana. Just be that being inside. I was living in a little town in Franklin, and when I got there, the police chief decided that he had the leader of a major drug ring on the whole East Coast living in his little community, and he had been watching, the FBI type television shows, and it was like my old karma I was living out, because it had nothing to do with who I am now, but it was who I was some years back. And every time I'd meet him, he'd look at me like I was a criminal. And I would go home, and every morning as the sun would come up, I'd sit there and I would say, Aditya Hridayam Punyam Sakshatru Binasham. And then I'd bring a picture of the police chief into my mind, right before my eyes, and I just bathe him with light and with love. And I just think of him, that he's God being the police chief. And then we'd meet on the street, and he'd look at me like he was going to get me. And I'd look at him like, oh, wow, here we are, man, you're God. And I never said that to him, and I never came on to him. But all I did was keep undercutting the mind net. Did you ever see the Doctor Strange comics? Doctor Strange meets the mystic mind. In those, they each put out huge nets. They entrap each other, nets of their minds. And he'd send the net, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad. And I'd send the net, you're God, you're God, you're God, you're God. So mine is much warmer and lighter, and everybody wants to be at home. In the Om home all the time. The fiercest sheriff in the small town, and the most violent radical, and the most conservative official, and the worst enemy fighter, whoever the enemy happens to be at the moment. And everybody wants, and everybody has the place inside themselves, and the statement is very simple, that a being of purity, a being of love, a being of truth lives in a universe of purity, love, and truth. Because if that's who you are, and you feel safe enough to be totally open, totally here, then all you receive back are good vibrations. Because it's an unbeatable situation, because everybody wants to live in the light. And you meet, whoever it is you meet, the first message they send is, look, I'm me and you're you, and you keep your distance. Whoever it is, because we all have these boundaries. And I just look at a person and say, here we are. Here we are again. We're us. There's only us. The whole universe is only us. If you want to keep the mind trip going that I'm him, go ahead, but for where I'm sitting, I'm not him. I'm us. I'm clearly us, And your take of me is him. I don't think of you as him. I think of you as us. The problem is that most people that are into protesting think of the guy they're protesting against as him. And the fact is, if you want a peaceful universe, the first thing you've got to be is a peaceful being. Because otherwise the vibes you're putting out make the whole thing you're trying to do absurd, because in the lawful way the universe works, the way karma works, the law of action and reaction is a truth. And if you act with anger, you receive anger back. You create more anger in the universe. And every time you look at somebody else as him, you increase the experience of himness that you have to feel all the time, which is what's called paranoia. And so the simple rule of protest is you can't protest unless you can love the person you're protesting against as much as you love yourself. And if it's any less than that, if you can't love them, you may not love their behavior, but you've got to love them, and you've got to genuinely love them, not like, oh yeah, I love them. It can't be a hype. It's got to be a profound felt love. Then, man, you can protest, and then your protest does just what you wanted it to do. Because people don't understand about the siddhis, the spiritual powers, that when any action is performed without attachment, it is an action that brings about exactly the effect it set out to bring about. And that's why the rule of the karmic game is every desire you ever have is going to be fulfilled sooner or later, which gets pretty scary sometimes. You get to wish you wouldn't have any more desires. And when you begin to see how that works, then you stop having so many desires. Because you see that everything you desire out there you already are if you would only knew who you are. If you'd only go into the aditya, hridayam, punyam. Because the sun is it all right there in the light. What could you desire out there? That just under the illusion you're not something. You want a strawberry shortcake? Don't you think you're a strawberry shortcake? We're all strawberry shortcakes. That's what grokking is, or compassion. It's so totally breaking down the subject-object barriers that it's all subject. It's all like making a fist. It's all the same thing, just what you do with your hand. You just do it. You don't conceptualize. You don't think, now I will turn in the middle finger and so on. Now I'll put the thumb over. Well, that's the same way you know strawberry shortcakes. It's all us, all the time. And once you started to live in the world of us, which is also the world of here and now. In other words, if I sit in a room with 5 of us, if I can get free of the thoughts in my head that relate us to the past or the future, this is just a room in which there are 5 of us. And if there's only 5 of us in the room, we are here, and this is the eternal moment. This is all there is. This is what everything we ever did was for this moment. And either we're here or we're not. And you can't beg off. You can't cop out by saying, well, I'm not here now, but later. As soon as I finish my education, as soon as my kids get through college, as soon as I get more dope, as soon as I get good food, as soon as I finish dinner, I'll be here. At the moment, all I think about is later. And you begin to see that the thoughts in time, the thoughts of future or past, are keeping you from the here and now. And it gets scary not to think about the future, because most of us spend most of our time fantasizing about the future, even if it's just a few minutes from now. Like you're driving down a street and there's a red light at the end of the street, and you're spending all your time thinking about what it'll be like to stop for the red light, and you miss everything that happened all the way down the street. The fact is that all of that's going on in base brain anyway, the way you drive a car. You don't have to think about it. In fact, you're a better driver if you think less. If you put it on base brain rather than cerebral cortex. So you get so that you're living in the here and now, trusting the fact that when the moment is here and now, you will always make the optimum response. So that I sit down here, I don't have anything in my head to say. In fact, I'm not saying anything. That's what's so far out about it. It's just that out of our consciousness is coming this stuff. And my mouth is the vehicle. But I'm not sitting around saying, well, I'm going to tell them that. Because there's no proselytizing possible. You can't change anybody like that. All you can do is resonate with a place in a person where they already are. If you can speak truth by being truth, then you will always touch the place in people where they know how it really is. Because see, there's a place in every one of us always that knows just how it is. And all of the postures we get into, which we get so caught in, all of our social roles of being the good this, or the bad this, or the lax this, or the greedy this, or the kind this, or the self-righteous this. Like the holy man trip. And it's just a trip. It's another trip. It's another drama. It's another role. And you play each of your roles with total involvement all the time. But yet without attachment. What it means without attachment means that you don't identify with a role. When Willie Mays is on the baseball diamond, he's a baseball player. But when he goes home and his wife says, empty the garbage, and he doesn't say, I'm Willie Mays, I don't empty garbage. He wouldn't last long as a husband. Because he's got the flexibility to go in and out of roles. And the thing is, the minute we break the identification with our roles, and then go deeper and break the identification with our senses and then with our thoughts, which is what yoga or union's all about, then we come into the here and now, the eternal present, where we always live forever. And nothing ever happens again. We're always right here. All the stuff that's happening is going by. You watch it, but we're always right here. So we always meet right here. We can never go anywhere. Where can you go? If you leave this room and storm out and drive away and drive 500 miles, and then you say, where am I? You will be forced to say, I am here. And when is it? Well, it's now. Well, I'm sitting here and now too. It's only that people have such a deep commitment to the matrix of time and space that they don't understand that one brief thought away in each of us, just one thought away, is a here and now place where we all always are. And that has nothing to do with life, and it has nothing to do with death, and it has nothing to do with personality, and it has nothing to do with bodies. And it has nothing to do with these senses. We started by playing the tambura. I use the tambura to chant with. I use it to go into the here and now space with. I start out, I'm playing the tambura and I'm singing, and pretty soon there's nobody singing and nobody playing the tambura. It's just all happening. And I am sitting in this space, which is a very beautiful psychic space. See, music can be one of the really fierce traps, or it can be one of the highest yogas, because sound is perhaps one of the highest yogic forms. Called Shabda Yoga or Nad Yoga. Listen to the shrutis. And these sounds, they are inner sounds in your head. And when you listen to outer sounds like rock and roll music, or Bach, or rags from India, you are always hearing the being of the musician, the state of the being of the musician. And that's why our consciousness is as high as the consciousness of the being who's creating the psychic space we're dwelling in. So when you're dwelling in Donovan's psychic space, or Bob Dylan's psychic space, or Jerry Garcia's psychic space, or John Lennon's psychic space, each of them is making a statement of his own being. First when you listen to music, you listen to it in order to titillate your senses. You titillate your auditory sense. And so you have this groovy, these flashes, it's super sensual. It's a plane, an astral plane, where you can go out indefinitely in terms of groovier and groovier senses.